Good evening to us all. Please, good evening, you all. How are you all doing? I'm very good by God's grace. And I'm sure the exams too went well today. And I'm quite here. In quite here, so we thank God for bringing us this far and for guiding us see this beautiful day, and in fact for helping us see this beautiful evening, and for us all to come together to worship Him in truth and in spirit. I know that when you're writing the exams, you remember the name Emmanuel, and remember that God is always with you. Amen. So this evening, we'll be taking a Bible character, then we'll be studying from their life and see how we can apply it as Christians as we are, some mistakes that the character did, and how we can desist from it and not do that, and help us grow spiritually. And I know by the end of this lesson, we will all gain something from it and we will live accordingly. So I would want to ask some few questions before we begin. And please, I want answers. Yeah. So, have you ever started a project or made a decision and along the way you've given up before? Has that ever happened to you? Interesting. And what did you do? Did you just give up, abandon the project, then let it be? Please, I'm listening. Will someone help us?
Okay, so I gave up along the way, but then I continued.
All right, so our brother Augustine said he gave up along the way, but he came back to continue. And did it affect your confidence in what you are doing? It really did. All right, so there is a character in the Bible who has a similar story. In fact, he started the journey very well, and also, as he was going on with his journey, he stopped along the way, but just like Anansi, he didn't give up over there. He also came back to continue. So this evening, we'll be studying about John Mark. Please, we know John Mark. How many of us know John Mark? Oh, okay, that's nice. So about 50 people here, only Alfred knows John Mark. Or we are shy. All right, so let's study about John Mark. So John Mark is a person who was first mentioned, or whose name was first mentioned in the book of Acts, chapter 12, verse number 12. And the Bible said a very good thing about John Mark over there. So I beg we open to Acts chapter 12, verse number 12. Then we see something over there.
So when he had considered this, he came to the house of Mary, the mother of John, whose surname was Mark, where many were gathered together praying. Amen.
Amen. So there is an individual whose surname was Mark. John, whose surname was Mark. And the mom was called Mary. So John and in fact, John and Mark, so John Mark, just as added a few to it. But his name was John Mark. And John, like in their system, they had this way of naming themselves. They take the Jewish name and also the Roman name. So they will take, maybe Emmanuel will be the Jewish name, Entry will be the Roman name. So that's